name's Wayne and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making some brake lines for the CUDA, and we're also going to try out the Capri double flare flaring tool for the stainless brake lines, and we're going to see if we can get a good flare. So let's get to work. So in my last video, when I was putting the master cylinder in, I ended up borrowing my friend's double flaring tool that he used on his car, and it worked great, but it just wasn't giving me the double flare that I wanted on my stainless brake lines. What did I end up doing? I did some research and ended up buying this Capri double flare tool. Now, they don't say that it's designed for stainless steel, but it does say steel and other materials, but it looks really well made. I like the insert, the die for it. Now, it only is going to work for 3/16, but I'm okay with that. I don't really plan on flaring anything else. But yeah, so we're going to give this a try on the stainless steel and see how it works. Alright, so here is my driver's side front brake line. And the way I'm going to route this, if you saw my last video, is I plan to run a T from the two front brake lines and then make a jumper up to the adjustable proportion valve. Now, right after I got my friend's double flare tool, I kind of got excited. I'm like, okay, let's just go right to it. And I tried double flaring this line, so I ended up cutting off the end, and you can see it just really looks like a single flare. It doesn't look very good. And to give you a comparison, this is what I ended up cutting off, right? So not happy with that, and it just isn't going to work on this material. So that's why I bought this Capri tool. And I also picked up this 25-foot roll of 3/16 stainless brake line. You know, you can get this anywhere from like Summit, Amazon, and it's pretty inexpensive, and this is what I plan to use for my jumper lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a short section of this and try it on the tool and see what kind of flare we can get. Alright, so we're just going to cut off a couple inches of this, and this is just standard run-of-the-mill tubing cutter. You want to get it in between the rollers and your little blade. It'll sit right in there, and then slowly tighten it. You really don't want to make big adjustments. I mean, it's a fraction of a turn is all it takes. Thought I'd show this in case no one's ever used one before once, and after that you don't want to see that all the time, so it's not very exciting. But and plus, this stainless takes a little more time to cut than your typical brake lines. So I thought it would be a great idea to put all these stainless lines in my car, and it worked well, especially since they all came from inline tube and it was all, you know, direct fit for the car. But when you start modifying them or you want to add, I kind of was stuck. It felt like I was almost in a bit of a bind. I'm like, I didn't want to put something else in the car that didn't match. Really wanted to try to keep it all stainless, so we'll see. We'll see how this works. I'm hoping this tool does the job, but all the flaring tools, all the flaring tools that I could see that were actually rated for stainless steel, they're like $200, and man, I just didn't want to pony up for that. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bevel on the outside edge. Anytime I've seen someone make a double flare, they always talk about doing this, so we're going to give it a try as well. And it takes a little, again, everything just takes longer with this material as stainless steel. But okay, that looks pretty good. Now we want to clean up the inside edge. Hit it and try to get it nice and square and flat on top. And come back again. Just trying to do the best prep we can. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, pretty happy with that. Alright, so now let's try the tool. So this hand tool is pretty slick. So we slide it in this side and basically just keep it loose per the instructions. And they have real good written instructions on the back. So once we slide this in, we're just gonna snug up these bolts on top. And then what we're gonna do is, it comes with this little die, which is basically a hard stop for your brake line. So again, that's another thing I really like about this kit is, it takes all the guesswork out, You don't have to worry about where exactly your brake line is sitting on some of the other tools, or where it needs to be just above or right at the tip of your flaring tool. And this one, once you thread this in, it seats here hard, and then you slide it all the way into this stop, and then you tighten up these little bolts. Okay, that is good and tight. And now we'll back this out. Okay. Now, really simple. And again, the instructions are on the back, but man, it's super simple. It comes with this little grease. They call it punch grease. Do not eat, even if you're hungry. Don't do it. Go get yourself a snack. And this is labeled OP1. And then there's another arrow for the SAE, basically Operation 2. So Operation 1, then Operation 2, right? Super simple. You can't mess this up. And we'll just put a dab of the grease on the end of it. You can see the brake line coming out through there. I'm going to slide this in. And go get our 17 millimeter. And again, you just tighten this die set all the way till it bottoms out. So simple. Although it's going to take some force because again, this is stainless steel. A little harder than normal. That's I guess only bit of a bummer is you can't really put this device in a vise like you can some of the others, but again, it's probably not designed for stainless. But we're just going to do it nice and easy. It's taking some force, that's for sure. But it's not bad. All right, you can see this tool's bottomed out. We are going to back it off now. All right. Now we're going to put a little grease on the other end. Shouldn't take a whole lot, and thread the other end in for Operation Duo. All right, so you can see we have a gap that we got to take up, and let's go. Yeah, so I just found this tool again, just doing a Google search, looking for good flaring tools, and this one had really good reviews. Everyone really loved it. I mean, I don't think I wasn't really too concerned about not having flaring devices for other sizes, so for me, I think this would be perfect if it works. So we're hoping here, crossing our fingers. I will say the grip is, pretty comfortable, and you can tell everything's really high quality, so I like that. We'll spread open the block, give it a little tap, and slide it out from the other end. Wow. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that looks really good. For comparison, this is what we had with the other kit, right? I mean, it was nowhere near as good as that. This is what a flare on the inline tube looks like. It's a little hard to see. Maybe I'll try to show you the one that I actually cut off. But yeah, I mean, that looks almost exact. That's really impressive, I think. Man, all right, well, that's really cool. Hopefully it seals up fine. I gotta believe it will. But we are going to go with it. Well, so far so good on the Capri brake line tool. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them by any means, but what we're going to do now is we're going to take the passenger side front brake line off. That's the longest one, and I already made a cut on the driver's side. I might have to remake that short one, but I'm hoping there's enough room that I can bring them together and put a T where I need to. And so I just trimmed or filed this off, got it all cleaned and prepped and straightened out the best I could, and we're going to throw the tool on it. I'm going to put it on time lapse because you already saw me go through it once, and we'll get this thing flared up. So we just got the flare done on the front right brake line. We're gonna go put it back in the car and yeah, go from there. All right, I just finished putting the passenger side front brake line back in the car, and my initial assessment is I'll have enough room to utilize this one even after recut it and reflare it. So that's what we're gonna do. Slide this protective coil wire back and cut it as close as I can and reflare it, go from there. All right, another good looking double flare on stainless. I like it. So let's go get this thing bolted in and see what kind of space we'll have left for our T. So I'm going to use this in between the two front brake lines and then run the jumper from here up to the adjustable proportioning valve. Alright, so it's a little tight, but if you can see in here, I just put the T in between my front brake lines and had to tweak the ends a little bit just to get them all lined up and parallel how I want them. But so we're going to have to go from this T up and then back down a little bit up into the front port of the proportioning valve, which is right here. So I think it's going to have to be a real small Z shape, which could be tricky with a stainless steel because it's pretty hard to bend, but that's what we're going to do. So and the rear brake line is right here. Right now it's facing forward, and that's going to be a challenge because the port is on the outside in the back of the prop valve. So I think I might want to find maybe a brass 90 to try to simplify it, because if coming straight out, I would have to do almost like a 180, which I don't know, that might be real challenging, but we have a lot of material, we can always try it. So what I'm going to do is basically make a little template from this coat hanger for my front brake line jumper in the Z shape that I was just showing you. So we're going to see if we can get something close out of this and before we try to duplicate it on our hard line. Right, so we're going to cut off a piece of our roll line that's laid it out what this dimension should be. So we're going to see if we can put some tight bends in it and flare it up and make us some custom one-off brake lines. Get these brakes wrapped up. Okay. Let's double check our length here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that works. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll mark a little spot out here when we want basically our first 95-100 degree bend. I'll put a Sharpie. And I'm going to try to mark the exact center of it. So let's just put a spot right there. Hand file. Make sure we deburr the inside, right? That might have actually been too much of a bend there. Yeah, actually I think it was. Alright, so that straightened it out a bit. And we'll use our Sharpie. I'm gonna go double check this in the car real quick, make sure we're kind of close. All right, actually I think that mark is a little bit long, so we're gonna move it back a little bit and do another bend. Yeah, coming down now. That's kind of nice. Let's see where we're at. It's definitely not so much of a Z, but all right, let's go try that. That's pretty close. I think we need a bit more of a jog though. All right, that's pretty close. That's better. And all right, I think we're getting close to where we could probably flare one end. We'll check this one more time. And I actually have a tube nut inserted in the bottom of the proportioning valve. That way I can actually slide my tube up to where it should be, you know, resting at and seated at, so I can have a real good idea of where it's going to be. Okay. You know, that actually looks really good right there. I think it's the right length as well. I think we're just going to flare it. All right, see the brake line I just bent up?
Yep.
All right, so what we're going to do is we'll be able to install, this is one of the brake line fittings that will thread into the ports where we want it to go. So we put that on the line first, and then we'll put this flaring tool on, and that's going to put the flare on the end of our brake line. And that way the tube nut won't slide off, and this is the surface it's going to seat on the other part, and that's where it's going to seal. But we need that special tool to do our flares. You want to help me do that?
Yes.
Okay, let me show you how we do this.
Put it on.
Yep, first thing we do, here, once you slide the hose in. Okay, that's tighten up that one. It's just doesn't take a whole lot. All right, that's good. Now do these with your fingers. Okay. Yep. Okay, and we're gonna snug those up. And we need this device clamped really tight on our line to hold it. All right, and now make sure this is tight, and it is. Now we're gonna back this out. Okay. Yeah, now this is our tool that's gonna form our flare. All right. Oh, I know, right?
Pink on the.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of grease. See, we're gonna dip it in this grease. A little bit of grease on the end. to help eliminate friction. And we're going to thread this one in. All right, put that tool down and thread this in for me.
Where?
Yep. Okay.
You're gonna put something on the side.
Yeah, we need to get a tool, my wrench. I need to get that out of the way. And where's my 17 millimeter? Now, we're gonna have to use a lot of muscle.
Can I try to do it?
Oh, okay. Alright, let me clear up some of this stuff. Alright, try to pull it down. Yeah. And then when you know when you can't do any more, and I'll do the rest. Yeah, buddy.
Do it one more time, I think.
Okay. Someone had their Wheaties today. Holy smokes, he's strong. Oh. Roar. What?
I can't do it anymore.
Okay. Well, I think you got halfway in. Yeah, you'll be able to do this one day too. Almost. A little more to go. See, we want to make sure we don't have a gap in between the block. See that? There's a little gap in there. That means our die has to go a little further in the tool. A little further. This material is really hard to do. All right, now it's fully seated. Now we're going to back it out. All right. Now we get to do it again on the other end.
Can I undo it?
Yeah, sure. Good idea. Just make sure we don't drop it. We don't want to break that tool.
Put it over here.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, and now
So when it
we're going to put a little grease on the other end.
made it,
Oh, yeah, sure.
gonna
We want, yeah. That's good. All right, thread it in there. All right, that's good. If you got any grease on your hands, you can use a little rag there. All right.
can I do the?
Yeah, you want to tighten it up again?
I think we gotta keep on tightening it up.
Well, because this is going to form the tool. This is going to make the flare on the end of it. I'll show you when we're done. This one's a little easier. Yep, there you go. Just watch your fingers. Yep. Good. Oh, you're strong. Let's see where we're at. A little further. All right.
Can I do it?
Well, it's pretty hard now.
Hard-handed or little?
Just a smidge. Yeah, that's about it. All right. Now we're gonna back it out.
Can I back it up?
Now you can. I just had to break it free. All right, back her out.
Couldn't break it free.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now I'll put that to the side. Now we're going to unbolt our tool.
Which can I do it?
Well,
It's gonna be fine.
yeah, it's tight though. Once hold on, put your hands back. It's really tight. All right, now you can use your fingers to undo the bolt. That's good. That's good. You don't have to take it all the way out. Okay, that should be good. And let's see if we got to spread this open and maybe a little more, and then pull our hose out, or our tube out that we just formed. See if you can wiggle it out of there. Oh ho, look at that. Here, bring it on the camera.
Wow.
Yeah, let's wipe off the grease.
Mm-hmm.
You're sounding a little congested today. You feeling all right?
Yes.
See, look at that nice double flare we get for our brake line. That looks like new. All right, now I'm gonna go check our fit, and then we'll do the other end. All right, so this end gave me a little bit of an issue because the tag end wasn't long enough for me to slide it all the way in. So I had to straighten it out, and it kind of put a little bit of a kink in it. And it kind of stinks. So now I'm gonna have to try to rebend it and match my shape again. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer. So lesson learned, you need a bit of a straight to use this tool. You can't have a really short tag. All right, so this came out pretty good. So I like it, nice and simple and clean. It's tucked up pretty close to the inner fender. I was thinking of maybe in the future trying to use that old hole there to make a bracket to hold these lines out of the way. Like here's the clutch rod, the rear brake line is kind of close to it now because it used to go right into that junction block, which was held to the inner fender. So I don't know what I'll do there, but all right, now my next jumper line's a lot more involved. It's not going to be so simple because I have to come out of that rear brake line, basically do a 180 into the back driver's side port of the proportioning valve. And this is basically what it's going to look like. So it's going to have a good 3 solid bends in it that are pretty tight and pretty complex, but we're going to give it a crack. Let's see what we can come up with. Alright, so we're going to give this a crack here. I'm going to try to err a little bit more on the positive side just so I want to make sure we have enough flat and we can bend this thing around. Okay, it's gonna be a lot longer. I wasted a bunch of material there, didn't I? Alright, well, so I have to be able to slide this on, and then slide that on, and then make my cut. Does that look good? Oh yeah, it's plenty long enough. I need it to be okay. I'm gonna go just take a look at this line, just see how that looks, see if I need to maybe take off 3/4 of an inch. Alright, so I just lightly holding it with some cardboard in my little vise, and I have no idea if this is gonna work. We might be doing this a few times, but we're gonna give it a little bit of a bend. Don't need a whole lot. And yeah, it's kind of close. But now we gotta do this crazy like 180 up in this area now. It starts right here. Ay. Let's reposition this in the vise. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a crack. Oof. Alright, we need another bend, don't we? Alright. So I actually, we almost need it to bend up as well, don't we? It's getting complicated. Alright, I did a few more bends with my hands, and it's a little tweaking here and there, and it's getting closer, but I definitely need to take about 3/4 of an inch off. I just marked that again, so one more cut. Fingers are getting shredded by this tool. Look at there, there's still indentations in my fingers. This crazy thing. But it's alright. We're making cool stuff. It's alright. Custom. Oh my god, my fingers are killing me. We just had an emergency out front. Put up my son's little pool, and an electric air pump quit working. So I had to come up with a way to fill up his little blow-up pool. Thankfully, I was able to literally duct tape my air nozzle for my air compressor to the pool inlet, and it held enough air. We were able to get the pool filled up. So it's a cooker today. So the little kid is happy. And it's a beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Most of my friends are out in their cars. Thought for sure I'd have this thing done by this weekend. I did not think all these breaks will take that long. But I gotta admit, I spend a lot of time making these videos and editing them, and man, that takes a lot of time. Alright, but no complaints. I'm enjoying the whole process. It's fun. But I want to drive the car, and that looks pretty good. Let's go test fit that one. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with my gut and leave it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to do the flare the one end first. That way I can kind of thread it in and kind of have it hard mounted. And then we can tweak this one a little bit, any more adjustments. Alright, so this flare came out great. And I think I'm going to commit. It's looking pretty good. I'll put a little more bend up in here, but I think it's ready for my next flare. And then we'll make our final tweaks to get it to fit. Got a little kink there, but we can still straighten things out if we have to. But yeah, we'll do the next flare and see how it fits up. Alright, the last one hopefully is done. Came out really slick. We're gonna go see how this spaghetti bolts up. So basically I just need to bring this line in a little bit more so it has a good straight path in. Well, it's essentially all done. I mean, it comes out of the rear line and back and around. It's kind of hard to see, and up behind and right into that rear port. It's a bigger bend than what these are. I just don't have any tools. I don't know if these are probably CNC bent, you know, really tight like that, but I can't really duplicate that, unfortunately. But I'm not too concerned. I think it looks pretty slick. The only thing I want to do down here is craft some type of little retaining device or a clip, or make something to hold them so they're steady, so they're not bouncing around. I'm gonna have to do something like that, so that'll be a fun project. I'll do it in a little bit, a little later. So I can always use some zip tie for the moment, but just to get it on the road. But for now, I'm gonna go back and snug up all the tube nuts and call that one done, man. Awesome. That is going to be it for this video. We made some custom stainless brake lines, and we were able to double flare them, no problem, with the right tool. That only cost me 50 bucks. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something today. And please hit the like button if you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and you can click the bell notification to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.